Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We have a lot to discuss. Where do I even start when it comes to Sean Diddy Combs and the trial that will forever affect and change the music industry and entertainment business? We started to get an idea when the Me Too movement made headlines. Rose McGowan was one of the women who was extremely brave to speak out and openly about her experiences in Hollywood and how, well, pretty much validating the Easter eggs that Britney Spears' Instagram was giving us for years. Being a celebrity in the entertainment world is not really for the talent of your craft anymore, but to use you, sexualize you for their benefit, money. Many didn't want to believe her for years, and the media refused to report on it until it got big enough that they started to, well, use its popularity for profit. Complete manipulation of the public, making fans believe the media had seen the light. But of course, it was more lies. Smoke and mirrors, y'all. If you're a fan of Britney and know the details of the conservatorship battle that she had gone through, then you already know why I'm mentioning her, as her story does intertwine with Diddy. I have videos here on my channel that go into more detail, but today I'm going to give you a quick summary of how it all connects. Remember, Britney's comeback return to the stage at the VMAs for Gimme More? Well, yes, she was not her usual upspeed, perfect performance self, but if you were a Britney fan, you knew something was off. Something was definitely wrong. It had eventually leaked out in the tabloids that she had a wild late night out and about hitting the clubs in Vegas. One of these clubs happened to be having a party that Puff Daddy at the time was hosting. There are still photos online providing proof to this. Photos of Britney with Combs and, wait for it, Cassandra Ventura. It has been rumored to be that night was her 21st birthday party. Britney did not want to be in the spotlight and just wanted to hang out with her girls that night. Just enjoy her time with her friends and some of her dancers before it's back to work in the morning and back to business performing in front of the world the next day. She was looking a bit unwell during the performance, almost in a trance under possibly some sort of substance. But if you look at the rehearsal footage, the afternoon before hitting the party scene, she did perfect and looked healthy, content, and coherent. There used to be a video that had supported the rumor that Britney was actually carried out of the club with security and friends helping assist her and walk at times because she was stumbling, as she stated multiple times, out of nowhere. And yeah, when you drink, you can get dizzy, but you could tell the difference from being drunk and then the other being more nauseous and like, okay, something's wrong. This is not normal. The story goes a bit like she had 2 drinks in a VIP section with her crew, and Combs came over and wanted Britney, who was obviously super famous and at the time was the most anticipated comeback. All eyes and attention was on her more than ever, which speaks volumes. She politely told him no, she didn't want to perform or be on the microphone, but he announced her presence at the party anyways. From those pictures taken that night, Britney wasn't glammed up. She wore sunglasses, a hat, wanting to be more free and semi-incognito in a way. Like I said earlier, she just wanted to live life up normal, like anyone else. Schmoozing and trying to be on her good side, Diddy allegedly had special drinks provided and given out to that VIP section. Some refused the drink because either they had the performance the next day or they cut drinks for the night already because they also were on her payroll during that time. So they also had to be, level-headed in case something was to happen. We all know how many say Diddy gets his way and can be a charmer, while Britney, being polite and would trust others in the business, thinking they know what she was going through as a famous public figure, she accepted the drink. After about 15 to 20 minutes, that's when it was rumored that she started to tell a bodyguard she was starting to feel a little weird and that she was scared. Now we know if she was surrounded by good people and her family actually cared about her, she would have been able to cancel and, like a normal person would if it felt that serious, would have had a private physician come see her and check everything out. But we know that was not the case for her, especially at this time. She was constantly being sabotaged by the public, the tabloids, the industry, her management, even her own family and close friends. Why would they want to sabotage the pop princess and the moneymaker? Well, because at this time, all press was good press to the media. TMZ was the thing at the time. So destroying celebrities' confidence, exposing secrets, or anything that's drama sells and makes them evil shits rich. Unbeknownst to the world at this time, Diddy was and had been for years friends with the infamous Lou Taylor. Lou Taylor and her ass-kissing partner in crime, Robin Greenhill, were running their schemes within the front of the company TriStar Sports and Entertainment, who have a lot of power and connections, one being Sean Diddy Combs. If they wanted to do the typical embarrassment ritual to break you down and need them thinking that they will help you recover, all they need to do was ruin the comeback to sell the gossip, causing her trauma in the long run, where she would have to need them. And that is what happened. Not only did they have her not 100%, but also didn't want to spend the money on her, including her appearance and stage sets, which everyone was expecting to be top-notch, like in the past. Nope. Her team and family was cheap on purpose, controlling her funds so they can save on everything and still live rich because they didn't spend much on anything but on themselves. Who could help put a plan in action? Combs, a personal friend and someone who at the time was highly respected in the business. You could research and make your own conclusions on this, but where there's smoke, there is or was a fire. Ever since the conservatorship was exposed, Britney has made hints about the world and corruption that we live in without even knowing, as the truth has been hidden since day one. Ever since Free Britney, many have been exposed, called out, and canceled, with shocking allegations, behaviors, and industry-disturbing secrets. T.I. and Tiny, Diddy, of course, Jay-Z, Rose McGowan has spoken out, Johnny Depp had to make his fight because Amber Turd was defaming him. Taylor Swift had to make some fights as she exposed that the industry, like Scooter Braun, for example, were manipulating the whole system and their artists. Kanye West and all that drama. You have to admit, he did expose Hollywood handlers. Lindsay Lohan has been through it. Justin Bieber. R. Kelly was a big one. What we found out about him. She's gone through. Selena Gomez. Even right now, current day, Tory Lanez with Megan Thee Stallion. All these names, good or bad, on purpose or not, villain or victim, they expose the truth. Out of nowhere, Diddy rumors swirled about FOs and mistreatment, either violent or shitty money management, not paying the clients or artists. Then the lawsuit drops. So there's always been rumors about FOs. If you were down with hip hop and that whole industry, you've heard the interviews, you've seen the interviews. Some are still out there on the internet. These things have been out there, but no one dared to actually talk about it, cover it, and expose it to the world. And all of this led us to the next thing. his homes being raided. It was all over the news. Something we discovered during the R. Kelly trial was the discovery of how these famous people are sick and want to keep tapes of the horrific actions, but also keep them in their homes, in their possession, because they don't and cannot trust anyone else. And well, here we go again. Another music elite with hard drives and tapes of inappropriate events and possible illegal activity, not just including himself, but others, other famous people and attendees of parties. And not just for personal pleasure, but for blackmail purposes. Just like Jeffy EpiPen. Yes, that is the code name we give on this channel because we want to stay on this platform. They all have influenced and taught each other the evil ways to mastermind, control, and be in a way untouchable, as most are, for decades. So before we get into this trial, let's just have a refresher of the legal troubles and rumors that we've had to deal with in the past with Sean Diddy Combs. So here is the timeline of Diddy's career and legal troubles. For more than 2 decades, Sean Diddy Combs was one of hip-hop's most opportunistic entrepreneurs, spinning his hit-making talents into a broad business empire that included a record label, a fashion brand, a TV network, deals in liquor companies, and a key role in a reality TV show. And this is from pbs.org. But U.S. prosecutors say that behind the scenes, Combs was coercing and harming women with help from a network of associates who helped silence victims through blackmail and harming. Combs has pleaded not guilty and denied the allegations. Here is a timeline of the major events of his rise and fall. 1990, Combs, then a student of Howard University, gets his start in the music business with an internship at Uptown Records in New York, and that's where he connected and met with Lou Taylor. December 28th, 1991, 9 people had died at a celebrity basketball game promoted by Combs and the rapper Heavy D when thousands of fans tried to get into a gym at the City College of New York. So it was like a stampede. A mayoral report lays part of the blame for the catastrophe on poor planning by Combs. 1992, Combs is one of the executive producers on What's the 411 by debut album by Mary J. Blige. 1993, after being fired by Uptown, Combs establishes his own label because he learned how to do it, Bad Boy, which quickly cuts a lucrative deal with Arista Records. 1994, Bad Boy releases Notorious B.I.G. album Ready to Die. 2 months later, Tupac Shakur survives a shooting in New York and accuses Combs and Biggie of having prior knowledge of the attack, which they still denied. Shakur was later unalived in a 1996 shooting in Las Vegas. 1996, Combs is convicted of criminal mischief after he allegedly threatened a photographer with a pew-pew. 1997, Biggie is unalived in Los Angeles. Combs, then known as Puff Daddy, releases I'll Be Missing You in honor of his slain star. 1998, Combs wins 2 Grammys, one for the Best Rap Album for his debut No Way Out, and another for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for I'll Be Missing You with Faith Evans. Also that year, Combs' Sean John fashion line is founded. April 16, 1999, Combs and his bodyguards are charged with attacking Interscope Records music executive Steve Stout in his New York office in a dispute over a music video. Combs is sentenced to an anger management course. Wah, wah, wah. Obviously, that didn't do anything for Puffy. December 20th, arrested on a pew-pew possession charges after he and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, fled a shooting that wounded 3 people at a New York City nightclub. Some witnesses tell police Combs was among the people shooting in the club. He is later charged with offering his driver $50,000 to claim ownership of the 9mm handgun found in his car. And now we've heard other rumors about J-Lo And we've even seen interviews with the woman that was harmed in the face. She was on Popcorn Planet, and she herself says it's Combs. March 17th, 2001. Combs is acquitted of all charges. One of his rap proteges, Jamal Shine Barrows, is convicted in the shooting and serves nearly 9 years in prison. 2 weeks after the trial, Combs announced he wants to be known as P. Diddy. Is he evading things when he changes his name legally? 2002, Combs becomes the producer and star of Making the Band, a talent search TV show. Big hit. It was a huge hit. Everybody was watching it. February 1st of 2004, Combs performs at the Super Bowl halftime show along with Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, and others. Yes, that unforgettable performance where there was a little bit of a peekaboo moment, which Justin Timberlake has come out to apologize. And a lot of people think it was all planned and, you know, he did it on purpose to garner attention. A week later, Combs, Nelly, and Murphy Lee win a Grammy for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for Shake Your Tail Feather. April 2004, Combs made his Broadway acting debut in A Raisin in the Sun. 2005, Combs announces he is changing his stage name to Diddy, getting rid of the P. Oh, God, that sounds terrible after what we know. March 2008, Combs settles a lawsuit brought by a man who claims Combs punched him after a post-Oscar party outside a Hollywood hotel the previous year. In May, Combs is honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Wow. 2015, yeah, we're not done yet. Combs is arrested after a confrontation at UCLA in Los Angeles where one of his sons played football. Assault charges are later dropped. I wonder why or how. 2016, Combs launches the Capital Preparatory School, charter school in Harlem. Also that year, he announces he is donating $1 million to Howard University, which we've heard in past years that the rumor is he did a Amber Heard and he pledged. Didn't really fulfill that. 2017, Combs is named the top earner on Forbes' list of 100 highest paid celebrities as he brought in $130 million in a single year. 2018, Kim Porter, Combs' former girlfriend and mother of 3 of his children, passes away from pneumonia at age 47. If you want to know more details about that, go to BJ Investigates, That Surprise Witness. She did a great job on those videos, deep diving on that autopsy because there's a lot of speculation surrounding that. 2022, Combs receives a lifetime honor at BET Awards. Oh, I remember that. Dressed in all red. September 2023, Combs releases the Love album, Off the Grid, his first solo studio project since 2006 chart-topping Press Play. November 16, 2023, R&B singer Cassie sues Combs, alleging he subjected her to years of harming, including these acts. A day later, the lawsuit is settled under undisclosed terms. Combs, through his attorney, denies the allegations and accusations. Remember, he put out that freaking apology video on Instagram. I sure hope that makes its way into court. November 23rd, 2023, 2 more women accuse Combs of sexual harming in lawsuits. Combs' attorneys called the allegations false. Dozens of additional lawsuits followed by women and men who accuse Combs of these acts and worse. Plaintiffs, including singer Dawn Richard, a Making the Band contestant who alleged years of psychological and physical harming. Combs denies all the allegations. March 25th, 2024, federal agents search Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami Beach, Florida. And like I said in a previous video, there was many in New York. May 17, 2024, CNN airs video that shows Combs harming Cassie in a hotel hallway in Los Angeles in 2016. 2 days later, Combs posts video on social media apologizing for that harming. Yep. September in his Manhattan hotel. SEX beep beep and racketeering indictment unsealed the next day accuses him of using his business empire to coerce women into participating in sexual performances. Combs denies the allegations. His attorney calls it an unjust prosecution of an imperfect person. May 5th, 2025, jury selection was scheduled to begin for Combs' trial. And oh, they did. So that will catch you up to speed on his back history. Rumors have been around for years about the after the white parties activities where all the money really goes with all these rich folks. Master manipulation, blackmail, contracts, NDAs, invite-only gatherings, substance overuse, marketing, PR, and cult-like culture all have been around and happening for a very, very long time, just kept under wraps. Really think about it, it makes plenty of sense. It's a whole nother world and game to them from us normal everyday people. Diddy's past had all resurfaced where old videos have been reviewed, revisited, and well, ladies and gentlemen, times have changed in many ways. What once may have looked as just a wild and crazy night is now, yes, looked at as inappropriate and disturbing. What was possibly once funny is now 100% completely offensive. This had Combs worried enough to start reaching out to people, looking for support, protection, assistance in keeping things sealed up, and this went from famous, rich, so-called friends, business partners, to victims and their families and friends, to try to settle or intimidate them out of proceeding with the allegations. For example, Cassie. The damage was done. Once that lawsuit hit the news and internet, it did not matter that it was settled the very next day. If anything, that caused more speculation that he wanted this news gone and forgotten as soon as possible. People gave Cassandra shit for taking the money, but I don't blame her. One, she completed her goal in letting the world know the truth behind the hip-hop mogul's lifestyle and power. Two, for her own healing, she needed to get this all out to close the painful chapters of the past and spread awareness for today's young generation so they won't fall in the same trap in hopes of love and fame. Thirdly, having Combs publicly pay and respond so fast spoke volumes and in a way provided her protection, because if something was to now happen to her, we can first check and see if it had anything to do with money or retaliation with Combs. Cassie will have to relive it all to tell on the stand, but in the long run, she will get closure, respect, and a lot of weight lifted off her shoulders. To those who claim and bitch all this time she could have left and she obviously wanted to do the FOs, y'all have clearly never been in a toxic relationship of pure grooming and manipulation or witnessed it. So you should just shut up and be grateful. You have no idea how such things instantly take over, affect the victim mentally and physically. Some are so trapped they mentally have to prepare with overuse of substances or physically become a character and disassociate from their true self and will screw and fuck someone up. Y'all are entitled to your own thoughts and opinions, but seriously, if you have not experienced or worked in this type of environment, please hold your take and just listen, as well as evaluate all sides and angles before spewing an opinion that you may take back in the future because you didn't fully understand or have all the facts. Prior to this trial between Combs and the federal government, we heard about all the other lawsuits set against him and more that were also linked with Tony Busby and Jay-Z drama. Fast forwarding to the trial everyone has been waiting for, Even though federal has no cameras, May had finally arrived, which meant in 5 days jury selection was to start. Sean Combs purposefully refused plea bargains and wanted to continue with the trial. May 5th came around, jury selection begins. Now we must remember Sean did not DV with Cassandra, but for the crimes of SEX beep beep, racketeering, criminal enterprise, forced labor, and prolonged FOs, ST, forced fraud, conversion, harboring, insisting, and transporting illegal SEX work and activity, and just so much more. It's insane. During this time, Sean Combs was allowed to wear non-prison clothes. He entered wearing a white collar shirt, dressed typically for court. International news outlets started to take places outside, and many lined up in hopes to be the chosen one. 1 out of 10 press spots allowed inside, only 10 due to limited space. Diddy sat in presence with complete gray hair, which has many wondering if this was being kept this way to help him look old, sad, desperate, and hopeless to the jury. There was no immediate family in attendance, but Quincy Brown, I'll be sure, and Kim Porter's child did attend in support with Mark Geragos, who was not only there for his past client Combs, but Sean's attorney, Mark's daughter, Teddy Geragos. Mind you, Kim Porter may become a topic revisited or discussed, as they were rumored originally to have Albie Sure possibly speak as a witness, as he plans to release a memoir soon. Do you believe me now? With Combs facing life in prison and a prediction of a 2-month or more trial, which was a big concern for jurors, Diddy was then reported to say to the judge, "Your Honor, I'm a little nervous." Was that sober honesty or a tactic? You tell me what you think. They were extremely careful and selective with the jurors. They had multiple questionnaires asking about specific public figures such as Kanye West, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi, Young Miami, Harvey Pierce, Mike Myers, and Aubrey O'Day. Testing to see what allegations, comments, and thoughts of previous news said prior to the trial. This is to weed out preset bias. At this time, they also began to feel out if any of the reviewing jurors had either personal or professional experience with SA, physical and verbal harming, also distrust in law enforcement, connections, and other major factoring information. Jurors' history with legal or illegal situations, occupational checks, such as therapist or specialist titles, were also reviewed. Shockingly, the judge accepted and allowed many jurors to continue in the process, finding out most have a past experience with SA and DV. There was a few natures, such as one juror had connection to the Diddy HBO documentary. This had Combs and his team ready to argue and want dismissed. The juror explained they honestly did not watch it, but their actual job was photo producer of the project, where it was found that the photos itself were not crime scene photos or anything directly in relation to the nature of the trial, just normal online public figure photographs. Judge ruled no conflict. Sean Combs was clearly bothered by the acceptance at first, but later acted like it was no issue. But even the prosecutors wanted the person somewhat dismissed. Why? They do not want this to be used against them or the case later on as possible conflict of interest. Like the people of New York, the jury is filled with different ages, races, and much diversity. Sean Combs was present and was very observant in the courtroom, aware and oriented to the live transcription of jurors and selection, giving him plenty of ideas and information of what he could use to his advantage. Used to pull on their heartstrings and what to say, what not to say, what to stay away from, to not lose them. It was interesting and good to hear that the jurors did not seem to be impressed or fazed by Combs' celebrity status. Also, it's important to remind y'all it's a federal case and trial, so no cameras will be in the court. Only sketches will be released after each day of the arguments. Monday, May 12th, the trial began with press and media outside the courthouse, with cameras set up and ready for reporters to relay to the public any information that they gather. It's wild to me that so many content creators were not planning on doing live coverage due to the no cameras and how allegedly, apparently, YouTube was kind of suppressing it. But bam, here we are. Everybody's covering it. Everyone's talking about it. This is a case that should be public. And these actions and behaviors of the rich and famous have been going on for decades, are sick of it, and want it exposed and stopped. Going back to the Britney Spears, the little hints she had provided for years pretty told us all of this, and how she felt she wasn't a star in music and performance, but a star for human beep beep, ST entertainment, and forced labor. Essentially, overall exposing the truth of the entertainment industry and public figure money, fame, control. In the beginning of the trial, the star witness, Cassandra Ventura, walked in with laser focus, not looking at Combs, visibly very pregnant, 8 months to be exact, in a tight brown fitted dress, which in a way is a symbolic show, telling Combs and everyone she has moved on with her life and she's doing well, where she had the support of her husband and mother. Not there for revenge or anything nefarious, but for her. Sean and Cassie had not been in the same room together since Kim Porter's funeral. Cassie met Diddy in 2005 and signed with Bad Boy as they released a song. She thought this was the start of her big break, big career, and this was a big deal with Puffy, Puff Daddy, who was well known and popular, obviously, at the time. Being so young, she was naive and confused by everything and trusted the people around her. Sound familiar? And on a personal note, her and I have Filipino culture and background. We tend to be people pleasers because we are taught heavily on respect, especially to elders and those of authority. Keep that in mind with her young age and innocence to the industry. This vulnerability has her instantly subjected to being easily manipulated, used, and groomed. We saw the power of this control with R. Kelly and the 2 girls who lived with him up until sides with R. Kelly while the other returned to her family. She had grown through therapy, realizing the combing, no pun intended, was a strategy and inappropriate, eventually breaking out of the trance and grip. Cassandra kept her poise and answered questions on the witness stand honestly, fully, and with such bravery. I hope many understand and respect that. To relive and recall all the past and horrific details, not only is it humiliating, but hard to tell to not just the jurors, but the world. She was questioned for a lot of things, even old text messages that were purposefully used to help the defense, making her look as if she was 100% willingly participating in all the acts and FOs. There was a lot of talk that Sean Combs was extremely nervous seeing Cassie on the stand. Her answers and testimony told us being so young, she was, naive and vulnerable to such power and charm. Despite only 1 album pretty much coming out, tons of her recordings and songs were made but never released. Diddy wanted her for focus on FOs. The hotel harming video was showed and discussed by extended footage. The Intercontinental went out of business not long after, but the workers never forgot what happened, what they had to clean up, what they had to go through. Cassie provided disturbing details and continued to answer questions openly and honestly. Such a class act. She never called Sean horrible things and actually would explain how she felt half of the time. It wasn't truly her that he was really mad at. She explained how it was an addiction that turned into a weekly event. At one point, Cassie was directed to look at binders that the state and DA provided to her and the court. Binders contained photographs of these maybe about 13 men that they needed her to identify. Without fail, she did. So as for the sleuths that have been researching this case, knew of the name Jonathan Oddie, which we broke the news of, I think it was like 2 years ago, here on my channel, Jonathan was identified and vindicated in that moment. We will rewatch the interrogation footage from when he was arrested, which was not related really to this incident, when it actually might be.
Deeds and Ross, which they good boys, okay? They're gay. Who? Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay.
DJ and he did?
Yeah.
They're all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay?
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry, I said the wrong.
No.
Hamas supporter, okay? I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard lots.
Oh, hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you said.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
Diddy, whatever you call himself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boulay. The Boulay is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. Okay. I'm from Africa, so I'm not a racist. Okay, you my brother, so I like black people.
Okay.
My mom, I was raised by an African woman in my house. Okay. She was just a servant, but she was she took care of me.
Right.
So I love black people.
Okay.
I had settlement with Sean. Okay. He's Donald Trump. Okay, because he used to belong to their side. You understand? He used to belong to that illuminated group that I told you about, which is an elite group, okay, of individuals which run the whole country. Alright? Basically, what I did you tell me did you explain to me about the message? Or
Please.
Elaborate. On Thursday, to Friday, basically, I went to Donald Trump. I went through the gates. I took I jumped the fence and I took down a fan, I put in the front desk and I blew the chandelier. Basically, what I did that for is to transmit a statement to the American people and to Donald Trump that we're not accepting more corruption and abuse from their system of France. Okay? Donald's still blind because he thinks that he let Hillary off the hook and she's okay. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying. Okay, keep going.
It ain't like the CIA, and then they want to do the same thing that he did to JFK. Okay?
Alright.
Why? Because they want the United States to fall. They've already been creating a state of chaos and confusion in the United States, and they want the United States to fall. Donald was against their agenda and won the presidency. Okay? He did get help from Russia. He did get help from the Saudis. He also got help from a lot of Republicans in here, which is the electoral college votes. And he got a lot of support from Republican people. Okay? The elections, yeah, they were fair, but he wanted the electoral college votes.
Right.
Which is the Republican vote, basically, got him through, okay? He didn't get the popular vote.
Right. I hear you.
So basically, the interior, he made it. He's president.
Well, it's political right now, but it will eventually connect and tie in.
The situation is that he still hasn't kicked out the corruption from the system. He's letting them stay due to money, basically. Because they all like making money. That's why they're all billionaires, etc. So there's only this select few that run the country, okay? So, I know you may or may not, I know you're gonna believe me. You have what's called the Illuminati.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
Illuminati, okay. They've made it in dance. Basically what it means, illuminated.
I got you.
Okay. They do satanic ritual abuse, which is basically CIA mind programming techniques to their own family, kids, etc. on the crew, and they bond that way. Okay, so they do sexual pedophilia, they do animal abuse, killing of animals, blood sacrifices, and everything in the Bohemian Grove. Okay,
Alright.
the Bohemian Grove, the bushes grow there. George Senior and George, both of them are in the same agenda. They cousins with the Clintons. Okay, so is Donald Trump. He's also a distant cousin. So if you see, there's a direct correlation of the presence of the United States being bonded between family ties. Okay, all these family ties, while not could go back to the same place, the royal family in England. Okay, the family here of the Illuminati are descendants of the royal British family. Okay, they have. Why? Because it's they have that issue. You understand? They want like superiority of the race. They see it that way, but it really is. It backfires them because it makes them simple-minded. You understand? When you ask someone in your family, your kids are not gonna come out smart. You understand? They're gonna come out dark. All right. So Donald turned his back, but he's still trying to negotiate a peaceful way out, and they have an agenda to kill him. Okay. Example: if you look at the Illuminati card games, example. Okay. You look at the game, Illuminati card game.
I'm not familiar with it, so help me understand.
It's a card game.
It's a card game.
That tells exactly what their agenda is.
Gotcha.
It's called mental pre-programming. That means that you predispose already once you play it, your mind's already predisposed that this happened, and you're accepting it. Okay? So they have a picture of Donald dead in that game.
Oh, okay.
Alright? I'm not crazy. They have a picture of Donald dead. But they also had Twin Towers. They had everything on there.
Gotcha.
Okay? From A to Z. So it's kind of like a hidden agenda, which they try to make it open to our eyes, but we really don't see it. We're so busy working.
It's kind of like hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. Okay. I'm from Africa, so I'm not a racist. Okay, you're my brother, so I like black people.
Okay.
My mom, I was raised by an African woman in my house. Okay. She was just a servant, but she was my she took care of me.
Right.
So I love black people.
Okay.
I had settlement with Sean. Okay, and he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land on the contracts. It's his attorneys, which are Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes. Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5. Okay? When I take Sean the threat of death on me, okay? I don't have it, but I can make it available under secrecy. That means that I wouldn't be liable because I don't want to be getting framed for anything, okay? I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's alright? I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued for the herpes and won. But they did Mark Garibos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible, I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
Yeah, sure.
It's possible, I'm not sure. Now, how does this lead towards Donald Trump?
Okay.
The Mercedes family, Ben Mercedes, that works with Mark Garibos. Mark Garibos used to be Michael Jackson's attorney.
Yeah, out in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he had he drugged Michael and they OD'd him, okay? He didn't overdose, they OD'd him. Because they keep the royalties of the music. Michael alone made $860 million alone last year, okay, in 2017. Which who keeps that royalty? The music companies. Who represents the media and entertainment in the United States? Most of them, Mercedes does. Kenny Mercedes, which is Gruber Mercedes shot out of New York. Okay? So what they've been doing is they've been promoting a hate agenda against Trump. So people hate him, okay? Because they know he is very alpha, okay? Very alpha in the sense that he likes money, he likes to make money, and he likes women, and they know they want to fame in certain ways with other people because they want him out of the government, okay? But it ain't happening because it's too smart for them. You understand what I'm saying?
Trying to, right?
Don is intelligent. We have a similar type of intelligence and overview of things. The only thing is he's not seeing that Hillary is a distant cousin of his and Obama have a different plan for him. You understand? No offense with Obama. I love each and every American, but he was part of that 9/11 agenda. He's a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent. That's why there's so much identity issues with Obama. Who knows his real name? They say he was born in Indonesia and he's also born in Hawaii. Nobody knows. Why? Because he's an ex-CIA agent. Okay. Basically, Osama bin Laden never existed. It was a creation of the CIA, and it was Obama in a cave talking shit and looking like an Arab. And then they bombed Twin Towers. Okay? So my problem is, I'm here to expose each and single one of them to the American public for the crimes committed on September 11th, 2001, and therefore. Okay?
Now tell me though, how all of that led up to Thursday night, Friday morning.
Well, I've been trying, my settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. So I let it be, but they've been following me and they've had, Mark Garibos has had the FBI on me, has had other agencies looking at me and spying on me, okay, because they wanted to set me up as an extortionist, like if I was extorting Sean for money. It's wrong. Basically what happened is Davis and Ross, which they good buddies, okay, they're gay.
Who?
Both Diddy and Ross and Khaled, they're all gay.
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay?
Who supported?
Hamas.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter. Okay? Basically, he's Arab, Palestinian. Okay? The Ciroc agenda, okay, is basically binge drinking poured out on a youth. They promote binge drinking and drugs.
Gotcha.
the hip-hop agenda was supported, was laid out by Obama during his last presidencies purposely. That's why they had Tupac killed, was when they killed him, you gain fame. When people, your record sales go up, and then people listen to your lyrics and everything, and then you become famous, okay? That's how they do it, all right? Tupac's still alive. He's in Cuba. Basically, what happens is the following. The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. You need to involve the DEA. They move all the dope, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by the inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high-grade powder, MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move. I've seen liquid cocaine, I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time. Alright, he calls it Juju, that's liquid cocaine. Alright. How do I know there's a conspiracy against Trump? Because it's in the Illuminati card deck. He should look at it for himself.
Let me bring you back to Thursday night, Friday morning.
Sure.
I mean, how did all of this? I think I better understand what you're saying. But what I want to know is how did that prompt you? How did that make you do what you did that night?
Well, we're getting to a point that his assassination is coming. Okay, because it's an agenda they perpetrate on the media and the news. Example, Madonna is a client of Mercedes, Ben Mercedes. He has her go on public TV and say, "Oh, someone should, I thought so many times of going up and blowing up the White House." Okay? That little message is Hillary's message, okay? Because Hillary sent it to Garibaldi, and Garibaldi gave it to Mercedes, and they give it to okay, now
I get all of it.
you're gonna need an internet, so I can show you. If I show you the website, you're just gonna go like, oh fuck.
All right. Help me understand you. How old are you?
I'm 42. I've been through all my life. I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, but he's scared that I was exposed.
I don't want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand you. I mean, obviously we never met.
I know.
I don't know you from Adam's cat. I'm trying to, we'll get back to the event.
I got like 30 years ago.
Where are you from?
I was born in South Africa.
What town? What city?
Newcastle, the Valley of a Thousand Hills. I'm from Zululand. I'm what you call a Zulu.
Okay.
I was born there, and then my parents were Latin descent from Argentina. They escaped the military dictatorship in Argentina.
Pinochet, all that?
No, the Argentine one.
Is it?
Yeah, Pinochet was a Chilean one, but
Okay.
I can't remember. It was like a military dictatorship. I can't remember the name.
All right. How many years did you stay in South Africa?
12 years in South Africa, and I stayed 12 years in Argentina. And then I came here to the United States, and I've been here 20 years since.
Okay.
18 years.
And parents, you got a mother and father?
Dad came and visited me, died here of cancer. And mom went back home, I think, over visiting with my sister in Europe.
Okay. What year did your father pass away?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Did that have any effect on you? I mean, what was your relationship like with your father?
Well, I suffered a little child abuse when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I believe he's not my real dad, but it's okay,
Alright.
Sometimes, maybe that's what he thought.
Okay, alright. And your mother, where's your mother right now?
She's in Argentina, traveling in Europe.
Okay, and what's your relationship like with her?
Distant, but distant but nice.
Alright. Well, any brothers, any sisters?
Yeah, both. Also distant but nice.
Okay.
They both in They're in Argentina. Well, my brother's in Argentina, my sister's in Europe or whatnot.
Oh, so you don't have,
Family in the United States?
yeah.
Just my dog, Bubbles. My sister's
dog?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You're not married, you're single?
I'm divorced.
You're divorced?
Yeah.
Okay.
My ex-wife is started trying to lie. I told her she's an attorney.
She's an attorney?
Yeah.
Where she live?
In Boca Raton.
In Boca Raton?
Yeah.
Okay. Does she know anything about this? Have you talked to anybody?
Yeah, she kind of knows. But what happened was they've been tapping me so much on my phone through intelligence, I figured out how they tap their iPhones.
Okay.
And basically it's gone all the way up. And I've seen even Hillary knows they've been watching. They've been watching.
All right, come back to me. We'll get back into that in just a minute. Let's just stay with your family members and everything.
Sure.
I'm just wondering if you talked to your ex-wife or anybody.
I thought no, about what happened about this.
Yeah.
No, this was only me. It was premeditated to give a message to the American public, a wake-up call. It's called a wake-up call. It's like when somebody rings a bell for Americans to wake up. Americans like you, like me, like all of us here.
You said premeditated, so you thought about this. You thought this through.
Yeah.
How long have you been thinking about it?
It's easy. It's like.
Help me understand. I don't.
Well, really,
When you said premeditated, you must have been thinking about it for a while. How long have you been thinking about doing what you did?
Well, when I say premeditated, it means that I went and did it by myself, that's all. And I didn't think about it like for
Okay.
I didn't plan it for
Okay. When you said premeditated, I thought maybe you planned it out. Like
I ran my own personal investigation, which I figured out myself that this is going on, and we still having issues of corruption at the highest place in our government.
I get that. Now, when you say you did your own investigation, what'd you do?
Basically, out of all the times I went and saw the attorneys, I did my research online, and I found out the whole puzzle of their organization.
Okay, all right. So you didn't tell, well, before I ask that question, so you have an ex-wife, you got a girlfriend, you got anybody that you talk to? I'm trying to understand if you got somebody that you interact with on a daily basis.
Yes, I would have a good friend, a breakfast buddy. His name is Luis David Gonzalez. And we go to the gym every day. He has nothing to do with what happened Thursday. Though he's a witness, he's gotten shot at by them, and he's a witness that Ross came and threatened me. After we settled, Diddy sent Ross, and I asked him to go see if that was Ross and confirm his identity.
So Gonzalez, he can back up what you're saying about P. Diddy and Ross and all that? Okay, all right. And you said Gonzalez didn't know anything about what you did? You didn't talk to him before?
Nothing.
Nothing?
He knows nothing. He was actually worried about me. He's like, hey, what's up? And I told him, look, man, what's happening is he's trying to pull things down, but then the feds have been harassing him. The feds. They have a big file of me like this. Since because P. Diddy and Mark Garabos have been trying to set me up and lock me up as an extortionist, asking for money. It was not so. My settlement was breached, and my settlement terms is one was called peaceful enjoyment. That means that if I went to your house or I did something, you'd actually pay me the full amount.
I get all that.
So I've been going through that since like 2012. So.
All right, and Gonzalez knows about that? You talked to him about that kind of stuff?
I talked to him alone because he's the only one that knows since the beginning. And then my ex-wife, she knows she saw the contract. She has a contract, a picture of the contract. So I found out. You need to call her and ask her for a copy of the settlement agreement.
Okay, all right. Where do you live at? Where's your house? Or where do you live?
177, just down the road from Trump's. You see, I want you to live close to Trump because I know they don't like being close to Trump. You understand what I'm saying? They don't like that. So that's why I went to Trump's.
Okay, all right. You got a roommate? You live alone? Okay, all right. How do you get around? You got a car?
Yeah,
or
Jeep.
something like that? Yeah, Jeep.
It looks like a military Jeep.
Okay. Where's that Jeep right now?
Police have it in custody.
Okay, all right. We'll get back to the Jeep in a minute. tell me about your employment. What do you do for work right now?
Okay, right now I'm self-employed. I work with minerals and gemstones. With an old company called Pegasus Mineral Trading.
Okay.
That I inherited from my father. Previously, I'd been.
Well, before you go any further, do you have like an actual office someplace, or you work from home? Or?
From home.
Okay, so you pretty much like online.
Yeah, but I get busy 2 seasons a year. Like really busy. I get September and February. So it's like 15 days non-stop each one, and then it's like just slide out.
Well, where I'm going with that is if you work from home, do you have a computer? Do you
No,
have a telephone? How do you do business?
What I did is I threw away everything I had because.
Well, before you go, what is everything? What did you, when you say you threw away everything, what's that?
My documents, everything I had, because I know they've been trying to follow me. And I just don't want my personal info getting, you know.
I got you. No, I think I understand, but I mean, what I'm trying to understand is how can you have a business and not have a computer or work the phone?
Oh, I haven't. I just threw them away the same day. I threw it all away.
You threw what away?
My computers and everything.
Well, where do you throw them away at?
The garbage.
And your garbage at your...
Yeah, because they've been spying at me through that. They spy you through your computer, through your iPhone. They spy you through your TV screen, the cameras. Even if they off, they manage to do it. It's called intelligence. The CIA is available. Can do anything.
Let me make sure I understand you now. Now, when you say you threw them away, you threw them into like a dumpster, or did you just throw them away in your trash can and
my
throw
trash
them
can.
away in the dumpster?
In my trash can.
Okay. So exactly what was it? Just like one computer?
No, everything. My documents, the cell agreement, my computer, everything. Actually, the TV, everything that had been surveilling me on, I took it off because I wanted them to be in the dark.
Okay.
Because they've been watching me. So now they kind of freaked out, they got spooked out. But it needed to be done. And Donald needs to do his presence correct. And he needs to know that these people are running him into the ground, running the country to the ground.
All right, we're going to come back to that. I'm not done with that, but I'm trying to help you and I'm trying to understand your daily routines, your business, that kind of stuff.
But I'm very different than you. I'm very intelligent.
Okay.
We all are very intelligent.
I can see that, yeah.
The thing is, you've been fed the wrong foods and medicines which blind you, okay? Most of the pharmaceutical industry is bogus, okay?
I agree with you, yeah.
I can tell you right now, they have you popping pills and they poison you slowly so you die, okay? That's the truth. You don't need any medicine. You're strong. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Your body's called. The only way to come out now, that's all you need. Vitamins, immunotherapy. That's all you need.
All right.
About my work ethics. Okay, previous places I've worked at. In the United States. Well, do you want to know all of them or?
As much as you can tell me, help me understand, you said you work for Pegasus right now, right? But you threw away all your stuff.
Yeah, because it's a family business. It's really simple. It's just like, I just need to use square cash.
So let's go back. What did you do before Pegasus?
I worked, I took a break off during the summer, I did my research. I took care of my dad, he had died. Before that, I did real estate investments with Section 8 properties, but I was started getting harassed. So, because they threatened to sue me, I sold the properties. Before that, I worked for RG Electronics. I was the top producer, the top salesman on TV in 2012, in the last quarter. Before that, I worked for a company called MA Labs, out of the Raw here in 87th. They computer components manufacturers. Before that, I worked for S&T of America, which is Micron out of Idaho. They semiconductor artificial memory chips, DDR memory basically. Before that, I worked as a self-employed trading electronics South America. Before that, I came here as an internship as an accounting manager for the Pier House Resort in Key West, Florida.
Okay, all right. So pretty much all those jobs were in South Florida, in Miami area.
I always stayed in South
Okay.
Florida.
Where'd you go? You college? You go?
I went to University of South Florida, which is the same school as the Pope we have right now. I started travel industry management, business and travel industry management, but then I went into the electronics sector.
Okay, all right.
That's what's been brought.
Okay, all right. Do you have anybody that you can think of that you used to work with, that you trust? Anybody, any former coworkers, anybody that you would reach out to if you ever needed help at any of those jobs?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm pretty self-confident. I mean, I have my head on my shoulders. I know what I'm doing.
Okay, all right.
And I mean, I know you all think this is bogus, or you may not yet understand it. But look, I got 3 bullet holes.
I got you.
I did this for the country, and trust me, I feel great.
Okay.
And I'll do it any day, because at least I avoid a president getting shot, and at least I avoid other dummies trying to fuck up our country. Excuse my language.
No, you're good, man.
And my people, because my Americans are my people.
Okay.
I have issue with when people mess around my people.
All right, tell me, all right, let's go back to Thursday night, Friday morning. Before you did what you did,
Well,
what was your state of mind? I mean, what were you thinking?
cool as ice. I went there, I knew what I was doing. It's not like I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I was doing, and my point was to take down my flag and put it in the front desk and call the police, shoot the chandelier, to tell them to stop getting Saudi Arabia money.
All right.
That's all, because Obama is behind him, so is Hillary, okay? So he's got to stop taking Arabian money, because he's letting everything slide. He's letting Obama stand right behind him, and so Hillary. He knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
He knows who they are. So does the CIA. Maybe the Secret Service doesn't, because you all work for the president, correct?
Right.
You only work for the president.
There's some other people, but mainly the president, right?
Exactly. So the problem is, you're his circle, the CIA, and men are a different circle.
Well, let me rephrase that. We don't work for him. We provide a service to protect him.
Exactly. That's why I want you to talk, and I would like this to be told to Donald Trump. Tell him I'm a supporter of him. I love him. I don't hate him. I know what his issues are. He has an issue right now with him that's bugging him a lot. It's called Stormy Daniels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it bugging him so much? Why is he lying to people? Why does Donald lie to people about Stormy?
And how does that make you feel personally?
I know the truth. I think it's a dummy situation. I think he should put his pants up and explain to the American people what's the problem is. Stormy is what's naughty, okay? They know each other, because I know Christopher's been talking to Gervas for years. They've been doing my attorneys here next Laura. They've been doing business. They've been getting referrals for years after I cut the deal with Diddy. They made friends, and they be doing deals.
I understand all that.
They threw me into the beds
Well,
for conspiracy of something that I had not done. I was claiming breach of settlement. Now, the way the story is, it works as the following. Donald has an issue. His doctor prescribing Propecia. You know what Propecia is?
it's the skin or the hair.
Hair growth thing.
Right.
Okay? So basically what happens, when you take Propecia, your dick goes limp. But limp because you're taking Propecia. He has air issues. His doctor, birthday, slipped the Propecia out, okay? So for him, Stormy's story is bad news because it's embarrassing. That's why he's going crazy with that. It's not that he's lying to the American people. He's embarrassed about Stormy's situation, okay? He paid her, and she's coming back with some bullshit stories, okay? Trying to expose and defame the president.
To uniformed officers, in addition to the unarmed security guard who threatened to kill as well.
The 42-year-old is also charged with aggravated assault, burglary, criminal mischief, grand theft, and creating a false fire alarm. The last one he actually admitted to when his public defender tried to get the charge dismissed.
I didn't see necessarily the alarm pushing, but that might push alarm.
You know, sir, everything's being recorded. If you want to speak, it's fine. I'm happy to listen. Your attorney turned the microphone off, though. Probably a wise move.
The reason Adi claims he did what he did at the Trump establishment purposefully to get the president's attention at the time. He said he wanted to warn Trump about the criminal enterprise and what Sean Diddy Combs has been getting away with for years. He said he felt like it was his duty now that he was an official U.S. citizen. I still believe, in my opinion and speculation, he has been kept behind bars, still not due to the laws he broke in that whole scenario, but in a way as a witness protection. The court hearings and meetings for him have made no sense, as I've watched via Zoom live. Either rescheduled or early dismissal of discussion to revisit due to awaiting doctor's notes. Like, really? Right. If you listen to him carefully, everything he says came to light. And what year was it? Yeah, way before the Diddy investigation and raid. Interesting, right? Was Jonathan Adi the person to help Cassie's lawsuit and her protection? We know systems and industries intertwine and corruption runs deep. I feel too much information resurfaced on Combs that he couldn't be protected by all anymore. They, the feds, I think, needed a distraction from the Jeffy EpiPen situation, yet also grabbed some attention knowing that is currently the popular interest. Going back to the trial, it was reported that jurors were provided privacy screens so they can view the FO footage in question. They did not want to release to the public as they feel that would re-victimize Cassandra and mentally affect her all over again. The judge agreed and made the block. These videos were the center of concern as Cassie asked Diddy to get rid of them in fear of them ever being seen and leaked to the world. He would lie to her about deleting it and eventually would pretty much insinuate it's being kept for blackmail purposes, giving him control and power still over her. As a reminder, this was her first adult relationship, and it was tied into her career. The gaslighting in this relationship, this dynamic, was probably unbearable, unavoidable, and inexcusable. Cassandra was trapped. Who would believe her? Would she be harmed if she spoke out or left? He already monitored her every move. Leaving and cutting ties was easier said than done. So this is an article from pbs.org. Cassie was forced to read aloud explicit messages in cross-examination for Diddy SEX beep beep trial. R&B singer Cassie was forced under cross-examination Thursday to read out loud explicit messages with her former boyfriend Sean Diddy Combs, some of which expressed enthusiasm for SEX, with behest that she previously testified she hated doing. Lawyers for Combs are seeking to show the jury that Cassie was a willing participant in his sexual lifestyle and say that while he could be harmful, nothing he did amounted to criminal enterprise. Combs has pleaded not guilty to federal SEX beep beep and racketeering charges. Prosecutors say he exploited his status as a powerful music executive to violently force Cassie and other women to take part in these drug-fueled encounters with SEX workers called FOs, which sometimes lasted days. He's also accused of using his entourage and employees to facilitate illegal activities, including prostitution, related transportation, and coercing, which is a key element of federal charges. Messages between Combs and Cassie, both romantic and lurid, were the focus of a fourth day of testimony in front of a Manhattan courtroom. Defense attorney Anna Estavo read what Combs wrote while Cassie recited her own messages. Oh, that's like reliving it. Cassie, whose legal name is Cassandra Ventura, read messages to Combs containing graphic details about what she wanted to do during the FOs. At one point, she asked for a short break from the readings, which Judge Iran Subramanian granted. In August 2009, Combs asked when she wanted the next encounter to be, and she replied, "I'm always ready to FO." 2 days later, Cassie sent an explicit anticipation. She responded, "Me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable." Combs' lawyers have insisted that all the SEX at the FOs were consensual. Later that year, however, she also sent Combs messages that she was frustrated with the state of their relationship and needed something more from him than SEX. While reading their more affectionate conversations, Cassie testified that Combs was charismatic, a larger-than-life personality. "I had fallen in love with him and cared about him so much," Cassie said. Estavo spoke gently during the cross-examination, which had such a friendly tone at times that the lawyer and witness seemed like two friends chatting. Cassie, however, did complain once the jurors were hearing the full context of the messages the defense was highlighting, saying, "There's a lot we skipped over." A packed courtroom watches Cassie's testimony. As the messages were read, Combs appeared relaxed at the defense's table, sitting back with his hands folded and his legs crossed. The courtroom was packed with family and friends of Combs, journalists, and a row of spectator seats occupied by Cassie's supporters, including her husband. The 38-year-old Cassie, who is in the third trimester of her pregnancy with her third child, has held up well on the witness stand. She cried several times during the previous 2 days of questions by the prosecution, but for the most part has remained composed and matter of fact as she spoke about the most sensitive subjects. The Associated Press does not typically name people who say they have been sexually harmed unless they come forward publicly, as Cassie has. During a break, Combs stood at the defense table, huddling with his lawyers, holding a pack of Post-it notes in one hand and a pen in the other. At one point, he turned to the gallery and acknowledged a few reporters who were studying his demeanor. "How you doing?" he said. Combs' daughters were not in the courtroom Thursday as the explicit messages were read and shown to the jury. Jurors leaned forward in their seats to follow along with the messages that were being displayed on monitors in front of them in the jury box. One woman shook her head as a particularly explicit message was shown. A man stared intently at the screen, pressing his thumb to his chin. Other jurors appeared curious and quizzical, some looking at Cassie or jotting notes. Defense draws comparison to the swinger's lifestyle, but Cassie pushes back. Cassie's testimony on cross-examination was in contrast to Wednesday, when she described the violence and shame that accompanied her hundreds of encounters with male SEX workers during their relationship, which lasted from 2007 to 2018. While prosecutors have focused on Combs' desire to see Cassie having SEX with other men, she testified that she sometimes watched Combs have SEX with other women. She said Combs described it as part of a swinger's lifestyle. Stavo asked Cassie directly whether she thought FOs were related to that lifestyle. In a asexual way, Cassie responded before adding, "They're very different." Cassie said Tuesday that Combs was obsessed with a form of controlling the whole situation. The FOs took place in private, often in dark hotel rooms, unlike Combs' very public parties that attracted A-list celebrities. She testified she sometimes took IV fluids to recover from the encounters and eventually developed an opioid addiction. because it made her feel numb afterward. When questioned by Estavo, Cassie agreed that Combs once communicated drug dealers in Los Angeles to stop delivering substances to her, and he suggested she get treatment. Cassie said Combs only wanted her to do those things with him, not friends. Cassie's lawsuit sparked the criminal case against Combs. Cassie testified Wednesday that Combs harmed her when she broke up with him in 2018 and had been locked in a life of harming by threatening to release videos of her during the FOs. She sued Combs in 2023, accusing him of years of physical and sexual harming. Within hours, the suit was settled for $20 million, a figure Cassie disclosed for the first time Wednesday, but dozens of similar legal claims followed from other women. It also touched off a law enforcement investigation into Combs, which has all come together this month's trial. Combs, 55, has been jailed since September. He faces 15 years in prison if convicted. Something else I would like to add is Mark Geragos spoke on the Megyn Kelly show the other day, being supportive of his daughter's court performance and skill. As for Cassie Ventura, it had been said that she was genuine, believable, and perfect example of a star witness for trial. Sean Diddy Combs was seen reading the Bible prior to trial, as he was also dressed as a Catholic schoolboy. This is what they were saying. Now, Mark Geragos actually dropped some info where he said he's currently repping Diddy's mama, and said, I have known Sean a very long time. I have represented him before multiple times, which was mentioned by Jonathan Oddie in his police interrogation interview. And this was also extremely known. But Geragos was saying that when there was that rumor that one of the witnesses was like taken off the list or she didn't show up, he was saying that he does not believe the third witness, alleged accuser, even existed. I don't know about that. I noticed Mark Geragos was trying to be funny and upbeat, which had people kind of confused in the chat and kind of upset and bothered by it. And then they spoke about the male witness and accuser, where his name is Daniel Phillip, saying Diddy watched, obsessed with baby oil. And Cassie even was saying like the skin needed to always be glistening. Daniel Phillip had said he heard Sean slapping Cassie, and the discussion about how apparently the payment was for time and experience. They then argued consent, saying this whole thing is, you know, like back in the day, designed for a pimp. But I was confused. How is Teddy Geragos, the daughter of Mark Geragos, okay that like her father is talking about all this stuff on different programs? I would be like, shut up, you could ruin my trial. But after those witnesses, more drama, more information comes out. Supposedly, feds claim Kalina Harper was paid off against Don Richard. The feds had made a bold claim recently that Sean Diddy Combs allegedly paid off Kalina Harper, a Bad Boy Entertainment dirty money artist, for her public statement defending her former boss and co-group member with a generous financial compensation. These allegations stirred up when they had found notes that were recovered from his jail cell in which suggested there was a possible money exchange of some sort for exhibited support in the public. Yes, this information was discovered during that nationwide search sweep thing, which was targeted to happen at all Bureau of Prison facilities at the time. This was the search that Combs and his lawyers tried to say it was only for him, and that those notes that were found were taken wrongfully as they were supposedly labeled as legal notes, which did not turn out to be valid, just a tactic. According to allhiphop.com, the dramatic claims bring new intrigue to ongoing legal battles unfolding as various accusations, including SEX, beep beep. Don Richard, who filed a lawsuit against Diddy in late 2023, has accused him of various forms of harming spanning nearly a decade. The suit also asserts that both ex-group members, Harper and Richard, witnessed alleged physical violence against another one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends, Cassandra. In accordance to the government's filings, talks between Diddy and Harper accelerated in days leading to the public statement. Harper is detailed in Richard's lawsuit multiple times, in which was rumored to be shared among Combs' team and Harper on September 11th, 2024. With the government saying there is more than 128 communications between these two parties during that time frame, which later accumulated and turned into her social media post. Even though Harper seemingly supports and acknowledges that her old pal Dawn has every right to speak her truth, 10 toes down, that she will continue to consistently refute the specifics of these allegations. Harper and her husband had worked with Diddy for a while, and both claim that neither have witnessed such behavior. Diddy's legal team and reps have denied Richard's claims, stating that it is nothing but a series of false claims thrown together to target their client. Diddy's lawyer, Erica Wolf, said in a statement, "It's unfortunate that Miss Richard has cast their 20-year friendship aside to try and get money from him, but Mr. Combs is confidently standing on truth and looks forward to proving that in court." But there's more. The feds also claim that there were text exchanges that makes things between these two more suspicious. That's suspicious. Furthermore, in issues, Dawn also made accusations that the producer owes her roughly $3.5 million in unpaid salaries and royalties stemming from Danny Kane's first album, as well as the unpaid wages for touring on over 100 dates. According to People magazine sources, in response to that claim, Combs' attorney, Erica Wolf, told People in a statement, "Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. In an attempt to rewrite history, Don Richard has now manufactured a series of false claims, all in the hopes of trying to get a payday, conveniently timed to coincide with her album release and press tour." If Miss Richards had such negative experience with making the band and Danny Kane, she would not have chosen to continue working directly with Mr. Combs for Dirty Money, nor would she have returned for the Making of the Band reboot in 2020, or agreed to be featured on the Love album last year. Wolf added, "It's unfortunate that Miss Richard has cast that 20-year relationship aside," and again, saying for money. The other day, the jurors at the trial that the hip-hop mogul threatened her life and said that if she told anyone she saw him physically harm his longtime girlfriend Cassie, he would unalive her as well. Don Richard testified that Sean Combs made that threat that day after she saw the Bad Boy Records founder throw a jab and kick Cassandra Ventura after taking a swing at her with a skillet. Dawn alleged that he also told her that her and her friend would go missing if they didn't stay quiet. Assistant U.S. Attorney Mitzi Steiner asked Richard on the stand what she took that to mean. That we could die. Richard responded, saying she was shocked because all this happened just as she was beginning to record with Diddy, Dirty Money, a musical trio with Combs and other R&B singer that we discussed before, Kalina Harper. Dawn went on to also provide vivid images in detail of events with Cassie and Diddy. She mentioned how on multiple occasions during a visit to Combs' home recording studio in 2009, she witnessed Cassie get hit by Sean first on the head and then on the ground. Later also seen and witnessed Cassie deflect a whack from a skillet. She added these behaviors and actions were frequent. When talking about the injuries, Dawn stated that Cassie was known to use makeup, clothing, and sunglasses to cover it all up, which resulted in bruising on her face and everything, lips, arms, knees. just cover it all up. When asked why the fights and arguments would happen, Dawn said it was in retaliation to Cassie speaking up for herself, but other times it would be random and everyone would be like, what just happened? Where did that even come from? These incidents would happen in front of guards, where Dawn said they would not react and they wouldn't do a thing. All it comes down to is master control. He said she had heard Combs tell Cassie that he owned her and that any success she had would be on his terms, which had Dawn supporting Cassie's claims that Sean would stiff her on her career. Dawn also knew about Diddy holding those songs and albums over Cassie because she herself had offered to write and work with Cassie on records, and those songs never came to be. The kindness Dawn showed around Cassie would infuriate Sean when her and other artists met Cassie and eventually would offer to help her career. It was a no-no. According to PBS.org, it was reported that Mr. Combs didn't like that when we talked to Cassie, and oftentimes we would pay for it. Richard testified, adding, if you didn't stay in line, there were consequences. She also recalled Combs cursing and telling her to stay out of the relationship. The defense lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland, suggested that Richard was testifying because she was angry with Combs for ending Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, and because she has a pending lawsuit against him. You felt that Mr. Combs ruined your career not once, but twice, Westmoreland asked. Yes, Richard answered. She contended, though, that she was sad, not angry, over the end of the group, and is suing Combs because he mistreated her and withheld earnings. Later on, after Dawn Richards spoke, we were introduced to a former best friend of Cassandra and ex-roommate, Carrie Morgan. Carrie testified that Diddy left her with a concussion after having hands on her neck, we'll say, and then slinging a wooden hanger at her in 2018 when he was enraged and came to the home thinking Cassie was cheating and seeing someone else. At the time, Carrie was looking to sue Combs as she hired an attorney, but she met with Cassie later at a pizza parlor and had her sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, in return for $30,000 while accusing her friend of milking and over-exaggerating the harming. That became the final straw and ended the estimated 20-year best friendship between the two, Cassie and Carrie, who have not seen or spoken to each other since that day. Carrie was open to letting the public know that she was reluctant originally, as she only responded and showed up because it's a government subpoena. She clearly wanted to keep all the past back behind her and not bring up the pain of the loss of friendship and fear of Puff Daddy and his team. Carrie Morgan continued to tell the court to encourage Cassie to see the harming for what it was and break up and leave the hip-hop producer, explaining that over the years she saw her friend's appearance, confidence, and spark disappear and get lost among pleasing Sean Combs' wants, needs, and demands. The former bestie also detailed how Sean Combs controlled everything and that Cassie lost all of her livelihood as he paid for her car, apartment, shopping, bills, as he had her under a contract with Bad Boy, despite releasing music or not. Cassie had told us in testimony how she wanted a loving relationship with Sean and always kept a hope up for it, aiming to please and prove him her affection and loyalty, but his demands led to putting her subjected to repeated substance overuse, fueling the FOs with male special workers, which was extremely often, and left her exhausted, no voice, damaged emotionally to pursue her music career.